is there anyone on stage who would not support the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
We would not support it. The reality is that today, Ukraine is not a priority for the United States of America.
The problem that Vivek doesn't understand is he wants to hand Ukraine to Russia. He wants to let China eat Taiwan. He wants to go and stop funding Israel.
Eyes of a professional politician. There you have it.
Under your watch,
So the
you will
reality
make America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what? The foreign policy.
That was former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley blasting Vivek Ramaswamy over foreign policy at last night's debate. Joining me now is North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. He is a member of the House Veterans Affairs and Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, good morning to you. Your reaction to that particular exchange on foreign policy?
Well, I think Nikki Haley won that exchange. It's obvious that Ramaswamy does not have foreign policy experience. That said, you know, it doesn't matter that everybody has specific experience in different orders. Really bothers me, though, that he had said something about not funding Israel. Israel is our greatest ally in the Middle East. And for us to play isolationism in the 21st century is just not in America's best interest. We can't start pulling back from every country. This is a global economy. It is a global defense structure, and we have to put all those factors into any decision making as we move forward as the greatest nation on earth.
Well, Congressman, the candidate's also going after President Biden's economic policies. Watch this.
They need to stop the spending. They need to stop the borrowing. They need to eliminate the earmarks that the Republicans brought back in.
It starts with understanding we must reverse Bidenomics. We're going to open up all energy production. We will be energy dominant again in this country.
What we also need to understand is that Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to the loss of $10,000 of spending power for the average family. When you see 16% inflation, your gas is up 40%, your food is up 20%, your electricity is up 20%.
And, you know, President Biden is facing criticism online after he posted on X that Bidenomics is about lowering costs, Congressman. And I also want to add here, when it comes to Bidenomics, the former Vice President Pence, said that we want to rebuild our military, unleash American energy, but rebuild our military. I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well, sir.
Well, I think that the nation is seeing it's just interesting. He's going out, Biden is going out on somewhat of a circus tour, touting his economic policy. It's more of don't believe what you see, believe what I tell you. The average American is struggling. And right, you know, DeSantis was correct, or I guess it was either one of the other ones. I can't keep them all straight sometimes, about the fact that the children in the room, really, about the fact that $10,000 is out of the pocket of the American, primarily because Biden has been just pouring such money into the economy to appease certain special interests, his climate change folks, and then feeding into China. The average American is hurting, and it's obvious that that that's the case. And so Biden's pushing an agenda and pushing facts that really are not true.
Well, Congressman, you know, Nikki Haley actually did go after her own party and the Republican Party when it came to spending, and she said, and this didn't really get a good reaction from the room, I want to say here. She said that Biden did not do this to us when it came to fiscal spending. She said our Republicans did this to us, too, when they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill.
Well, I think Nikki was correct in some of what she asserted. The fact that we needed to pass that spending bill during the midst of COVID kept American businesses alive. And so I don't necessarily really agree with her on that premise. We had to do what we had to do. Mike Pence brought up, honestly, the truest point of all about spending is mandatory spending. It's Medicare, it's Social Security that absolutely need reform. They don't need abolition. They need reform. If you go back to the facts of when all the, you know, the Medicare was started, life expectancy was 5 more years after 65. We now have such a burgeoning population of baby boomers. 10,000 a day get added to the Medicare and Social Security rolls. We have to reform that system if we really want to get spending under control.
Well, but Congressman, but former President Trump, the elephant that was not in the room last night, and I'm stealing my colleague's line, he's the one that doesn't want to touch Medicare at all. He doesn't want to touch Social Security.
I think that's wrong. If you look at where 70% of our spending is, it is in mandatory spending. Now, when we say touch Medicare, when we say touch Social Security, it doesn't mean deny them benefits, but we have to get to a part where we're moving, in my opinion, moving up the age a little bit or changing some of the eligibility requirements, because that's the biggest part of spending. If you look at non-defense discretionary spending, that 30%, it only gets down to 15%. And some of those are really absolutely, absolute required programs, our parks, our other things. So you have to get part on that. You have to deal with the mandatory spending if we're absolutely going to get the spending under control.
All right. I want to ask you about something else, and this is House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He now says that he wants Congress to investigate the Biden administration's response to the Maui wildfires. Now, President Biden is facing criticism for these comments. I'm going to show you. Watch.
Mr. President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui? Can you tell us about your Hawaii trip, sir?
No, not now. We have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette. You guys catch the boots out here? That's a hot ground, man.
And sheltered by someone they may have never met before.
Do you back Kevin McCarthy's plan to investigate this almost bungling of this disaster that has taken over 1,000 lives? Over 100 lives, excuse me. Over 100 lives, sorry, pardon me.
Yeah. Well, 1,000 people are missing, so we don't really know what's going on. You know, absolute bungling by Biden. Who the hell, I'm sorry, I mean to say this, who the hell cares about your story, Joe? There are people that are hurting, and you don't have to turn everything back to you. And to talk about a dog who's sniffing out human remains, and to talk about their pads, it just shows the absolute cluelessness of this president, and he hasn't been told by his handlers on what to say. So no, it just goes to the advancing senility of this president, increasingly out of touch with what the average American and the sad situation of what's going on in Hawaii right now. No comment means he hasn't even been thoughtful of the entire topic while it's been occurring. It's really a sad state of America. Yeah, we ought to look into it and see what why he didn't act when he didn't act, why his vacation was more important to him than the American people.
Especially when Hawaii, there is an ocean between the mainland and Hawaii, and it takes much longer to get supplies, to get equipment, to get those dogs, to your point, over there to try and find the missing. Congressman Greg Murphy, it's great to see you, Congressman. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Have a great day, Cheryl.
All right, you too.